Hi, welcome to the Washoe County Library System's virtual event, Pop-Up Cards. My name is Amy, and this is going to be my helper, Isa. I teach history for the most part at Western Nevada College, and sometimes I get to teach book art, so I'm really excited to be able to talk to you about this today. Here is a basic kind of intro of what we're going to do today. I'll show you how to bind this into a book at the end, but we'll have a little Santa guy, and we'll have a snowflake, and we'll have a snowman. So the materials you're going to need today are a printout of the attachments that you'll find in the link to this video. There'll be 4. So you're going to have a little Santa guy, and you're going to have a snowflake, and you'll have 2 of these, or actually you'll have 1 of these, but you're going to need to print this one out twice. And then you'll have a bunch of little pieces, hats, arms, and such. I printed everything on cardstock, just a regular kind of 80-pound cardstock, except for the snowflake. That can just be on regular paper because we're just going to use that as a stencil. So grab those. You'll need something to cut with, an X-Acto knife, a box cutter will be fine. You'll need some kind of adhesive. Glue stick works great. Elmer's glue will work. PVA if you want to get fancy. Some markers. And I like a little bit of cardstock for the background, and I think it kind of frames your card sort of nicely. So the shape or the sizes that you're going to need on this, I just took a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. I folded it in half and cut that. And then I took a 1/2 inch off one side and a 1/2 inch off just the top. And that is what allowed me to have that border on each side. The colored cardstock in the background is just half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You can, if you want, go ahead and take kind of like you would do a sewing template on fabric. You can go ahead and cut out your pieces on a piece of colored cardstock if you want to do it that way. I just went ahead and colored my pieces in. So go ahead and color in. We're going to start with Santa. Go ahead and color in your Santa. Whatever color you want him to be. You should have 4 pieces here. His body, his arms, his beard, and his little legs, which are around here somewhere. And get creative with your colors. So I'm assuming everybody has their Santa colored in and cut out. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our sheet of white cardstock, which is 1/2 inch underneath that 8.5 by 11 half sheet of paper. I'm going to go ahead and fold it right in half. And if you have anything that you can use as a bone folder, frankly, a popsicle stick will work just fine. That will give you a nice crisp edge. Go ahead and unfold your card. We're going to grab your little Santa body, and I'm going to go ahead and cut right in the middle up Santa's jacket right before the belt buckle. So we don't want to go all the way up to the belt buckle. We're just going to go right to that intersection of those 4 lines. And that is going to let us fold his jacket up. So it's split, yay, and we're going to fold his jacket right at that black line up. And this is going to be where he actually folds when we close the card. All right, the next thing that we're going to fold is these weird little arm tabs, and we're going to fold those back. All right, so we have kind of a weird looking Santa body now. We're going to go ahead and grab our Santa arms, and we're going to fold those guys in half. And we're going to take our Santa legs, and we're going to fold those in half as well. All right, grab your glue stick, and we're going to attach the Santa body to the Santa legs. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go ahead and glue up just the white part of his belt, the part that's attached to his legs. And his jacket will attach to that part. Now, the only rule for pop-ups, well, there's a lot of rules, but the only rule that we care about today is that everything that is folded down the midline is in line with each other. Because when we put this in our card, we want to make sure that the fold is all lined up. If it's not, then your card is going to kind of turn all wonky. All right, so we've got legs attached to his body, and now we're going to attach his arms. Glue stick will give you a little bit of extra time. So if you haven't gotten it exactly where you want it to be, you have a couple seconds to go ahead and mess with it. It won't tack up right away. All right, so we have Santa hands and a Santa leg, and now we're going to put his beard on. You might have wondered what was wrong with Santa's face, but we're going to glue his beard right on there. Okay, so everybody is glued together. Now we need to make sure that we still are able to fold in half because he's going to go in the middle of the card. So take that midline right where his jacket was, and we're going to squish Santa right in half. Sorry, Santa. You got yours up? We're going to fold Santa this way, right at the belt. Yeah, just like that. Thanks. Yep, it'll go right through his mouth. Okay, so we should have Santa folded down the middle this way, and his little legs should be able to fold up. And if none of that happens, double check, make sure everything's there. I need to have one more cut for mine because my belt's not quite far enough. Cut. And we want his legs to be able to come up, his arms to come this way. We're going to go ahead and let Santa's arms hang out in the back today. So this is where we should be. And then we're going to go ahead and glue them right into that sheet of white cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue one of Santa's legs. Take a side. And you're going to want to make sure that the middle of his belt, right there, that itty bitty line, that's the thing that's going to line up right with the middle of your cardstock. Okay, so I've got one leg down, and you can see when I put his other leg down, it'll be like that when it opens up. So to glue the second leg, how you doing? Good? Okay. To glue the second leg, I'm actually just going to fold him down, and I'm going to put glue on the other leg, and then I'm going to just fold the cardstock over. Press it down for a second. Sing the Jeopardy song. And you open it up, and there's Santa giving you a big hug. So now we have Santa on the card, yay, and we're going to go ahead and attach him to our red background. So I'm going to fold our red background in half. Bone folder, make sure we have that crisp edge. And we want to glue the smaller thing. So I'm going to glue this on one side, and we're just going to glue this down the same way that we glued Santa's legs down. And just try to center it the best you can. And then once you get that one side in right where you want it, and you're sure that everything closes properly and everything is centered, then go ahead and glue up the other side. And fold that red card right down on top. Sing the Jeopardy song, happy birthday, whatever. And we've got a Santa. Okay, now we're going to do the snowflake. This is a little different because the pop out is actually part of the actual cardstock. So we're going to set this one up a little bit differently. So what I've done is I've printed out the template that's in the link, and I've gone ahead and cut it just in a square shape, and I've taped it on top of my cardstock. So I'm just using it as a stencil. Go ahead and tape it on both sides. Make sure the middle of your snowflake lines up exactly with the middle of your cardstock so that they're, again, going to fold properly. And then we'll go ahead and I'll show you, there are only 4 spots on this you do not want to cut. And that's because you don't want to cut out the whole snowflake. So these 4 little spots right here, you're not going to want to cut. But other than that, grab your box cutter, your X-Acto knife, whatever you have, and cut out the rest of it. Okay, so my snowflake is all cut out, and I went ahead and popped it out. This might take a second. And before we fold the snowflake down, what we're going to want to do is on those 4 spots that you didn't cut, we're just going to go ahead and crease those a little bit so they know where to fold when we fold the card. You'll notice if you look at this from the back, there are 2 pieces here that stick through, and those are going to have kind of an interesting moment here in a second. So we're going to fold our snowflake towards us. We're going to fold the card back. We're going to make sure everybody folds happily, and we're going to go ahead and glue it into, I picked a blue cardstock for this. So exactly the same way that we did with Santa, pick one side, glue it down, and then the other side. And then I'll show you what to do with that extra little tab. Sing the Jeopardy song. Say rest in peace to Alex Trebek. All right, and we're going to glue the other side. Okay. Yay, but look what happened to my little side guys. If you're not going to put a backing cardstock on this, go ahead and just let those little guys through and it'll open really nicely. I like a backer. So we got to figure out what to do. And what I'm going to do is pull it through, crease it right at the end of that little arm, and I'm going to actually glue it down right here. And that'll just make it open easily. The cut marks around the side of it will still let you know what the shape is, but it'll just have a little bit more structural support than usual. And there's our snowflakes. All right, for our third and final card, we are going to make a snowman, double-sided snowman. So what we're going to do here is we're going to glue these together eventually. But first, we are going to dress them up. So go ahead and grab your nose and put that on your snowman's face. Seems like a good spot. And his hat. And the idea here is we want to make these symmetrical so that when we glue the 2 snowmen together, they match up, sort of, as best as possible. So again, glue stick's going to give you a couple seconds to move things around before it tacks up. We are in Nevada, so it's going to be about a half a second. If we were in Illinois, we would have a couple days. Glue your arms on first because the scarf is going to go over the top of the arms. So, snowman side A is going to look like this. And we're just going to try to match up the other side so that his arms and his hat line up on the other side. So I'm going to use that guy. I'm going to put it on the bottom and then match everything up. Yeah, just like that. Lisa, why don't you show your snowman so everyone can see what we're doing? So get colorful, have fun. Okay, now we have a double-sided snowman. and we're going to glue the poor little dude's head together. Just the top of the head. But what's ultimately going to happen here is when it opens up, it'll split at the base, but we got to glue his head together. So I think we should glue the head together first. Actually, let's fold it first. So fold these out just like that. So both sides are folded. And that'll make it a little easier down the road. And that way, when we glue it to our cardstock, it's going to be kind of like that. Then once you're there, go ahead and glue the top of the hat and his head together. Snowman's head is now glued together. We are going to grab our last piece of cardstock, fold it in half, just like before. Okay.
Can I do it like that?
And then we are going to glue these down. And this, the same as the last two, we want to be kind of conscientious about making sure that when this closes, it's actually going to be in the right spot. So pick a spot, I don't know, it might be between 1/8 of a quarter and 1/4 of an inch off from center. There's going to be a little bit of a gap on the bottom. So pick your first one, put some glue on it. And glue it down. And it's going to be the same deal as last time. Fold them in half. Glue the other base to your snowman. And glue the card down. You got it. And when you open it up, ta-da, we have a snowman. Okay, so cards are super fun, and a lot of you might want to just stop there. That's fun card. I like bookbinding. That's my thing. We at the Bristlecone Press, this is what we do. We do a lot of bookbinding structures. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to combine all three of these. So we need to do two things here. One is we need to combine all three of our cards, and the other thing is we need to go ahead and cut our cover so that it'll fit. So we're going to do what we call tipping these in, right? We're going to tip them together, which means we're just going to glue them right at the foredge, just right here. And this is going to go ahead and still be open. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue stick. I'm going to take my Santa here, and I'm going to glue maybe 1 inch or so off the foredge. Not too much, just a little bit. And I'm going to take my Snowflake, and I'm going to glue it right there at the edge.
Does it matter what order it's in?
It does not matter what order it's in. You can put it in whatever order you like. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the snowflake and the snowman. I'm going to take about 1 inch of that snowflake, put a little glue on the foredge there, and I'm going to add the snowman. Try to line it up as best you can so things are as square as possible. And now we're kind of attached in sort of a little bit of a concertina structure. All right, now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and make a cover for it. So the first thing that we're going to do, I like to have, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch or so. It's a little bit arbitrary, but the amount that you like, I'll show you what the final product is here. It'll actually glue in on the side a little bit. So as much of this as you want, I wouldn't go under about 1/2 inch. And what we want to do is we want to fold this before we cut anything, so we know where we're going. An easy way to do this is to just put your card down where you want it to be and lightly push up so you know where your fold is going to be. Move your cards out of the way, fold your cardstock over, and get that nice crisp edge. Then we need to measure. What we want to have here is a spine. We actually want to have a little bit of a folded spine. This is not a thick book. If you do this with a bunch of structures to do a full pop-up book, you get a much heartier spine. But for this, we just want it to be, I don't know, what is that, about 1/8? That's about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Santa right in there, and I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure it's snug. I'm going to take the larger tail of my cardstock and I'm going to fold it up. I'm going to get rid of my cards. I'm going to fold this over, And take care to make sure this is square to the head and tail of your cover. So you might have to muscle it in there a little bit. That's okay. All right, now we've got two folds. We've got the part going over the foredge, and we've got the first part of the spine. Our second fold is going to be about 1/8 of an inch over from there. So you can measure that, or if you want to do this the kind of quick and dirty way, set this here, it's folded up, and you can just kind of fold it over, and that'll give you a pretty decent measurement. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. Take it out of the way, folding this over, again, taking care to make sure everything is square at the head and tail of your book. How you doing?
But I thought you said to glue it, so I
Oh,
thought.
Isa is ahead of us all.
No, I thought you said to glue it.
You're doing a good job. All right. Fold it, crease it, and now we should have a nice crisp spine. We're going to put our Santa back in. We are going to fold our cover over. We are going to find out where we need to fold this the last time. Hold on, we're going to go in a second. We're going to fold up right there over the edge. So it looks just like the Santa is going to look, but it's going to be the snowman side. And we need to do two things here. One, we need to fold this down and make sure that's a nice crisp edge that is, again, square at the head and the tail. And we don't want this much glued over the front of our card. So we want to trim this to about the same as it is on the front. So mine was 3/4 of an inch, so I'm going to go ahead and trim off to 3/4 of an inch again. So any kind of straight edge, ruler, whatever you have will work fine. And that's it. Now we get to glue. All right, so this is what our cover should look like right now. We are going to put some glue on the inside of the front flap. Go ahead and slide our Santa card right in there. Fold the cover or snowman, whichever one you decided to put in the front. Slide it over and glue that cover down. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'll show you in a second. Put a little bit of glue on that flap. Set your last card down exactly where you want it to be. Flip it over and press it down. Oh, I'll show you how to put that.
Oh, I have to cut.
Yeah, you got to
Can I
trim
have
it.
my
So
scissors?
you may. All right, and that's it. Right? And we have our cute little book here. You open it up. We have a Santa. We have a snowflake. And we have a snowman all bound in a fun little paper case binding. All right, thanks for joining us today. I hope you had fun making your pop-up book and or cards. Go to washoccountylibrary.us for more virtual events. Have a wonderful holiday season, and thank you for bearing with us in this very brisk 32-degree day outside in the snow.